So we've heard from some leaders in our community. But what about teens and young adults? People who have grown up in Chelsea, have survived through a pandemic, and are current students or recently graduated from CHS. This week, we spoke to a number of them about their perspectives on mental health. Let's hear what they have to say.
What makes high school stressful, for me at least, would be the amount of work and responsibility that I put in all of my classes, all hard work, the amount of time I have to finish up school projects and school essays.
I think what makes high school stressful is getting good grades and the pressure of doing good and performing well.
The people, how there's like groups of people that you just have to, align with, personalities, like adjusting your personality to fit in with the group. It's kind of stressful sometimes.
What things stressed me out the most when I was a teenager? I would say trying to find a way to fit in.
School was probably the biggest thing on my mind. Colleges, applying to school, doing everything I needed to get into school. That was very stressful.
Speaking in the classroom, answering questions or being called upon. I was a very quiet teenager in the classroom, so although I knew responses and did really well in class, I did not like public speaking at all.
Some of the things that stressed me out, definitely schoolwork. Time management, I wasn't very good at that back then. And relationships.
Getting schoolwork done, taking tests, those were super stressful, especially when it came to taking the MCAS, SATs. I remember being super stressed out in those moments.
So I think as a teenager, it's really hard to know who you are, and then you have to try to fit in somewhere so that you don't have a rough day at school, and then you have to fit in like at home. So I think that was the toughest thing when I was a teenager.
All the drama that goes on in high school sometimes when, friend groups and different things like that.
Personally, for me, that's what's so stressful. It's kind of like fending for yourself.
I think that in high school, a lot of us don't usually focus on finding our identity, and I think that our schools could do a better job at not focusing so much on academics and also helping students find their identity and their place in the world.
Mental health is important to me because people need to let out. I think people need to say how they feel about certain things that are within themselves, the problems that they have within themselves.
I think it's so important for the Chelsea community to talk about mental health because not only is it relevant in society, but it's relevant for a lot of us that represent different identities. Like, for example, I'm not only a blind person, but I'm a Puerto Rican woman and first-generation college student, and that comes with a lot of pressure to succeed and to do your best. Then on top of that, to have mental health struggles.
We are a community that has undergone a lot of trauma. And in order for us to be able to achieve our highest health potential, we have to be able to address mental health and that relationship with ourselves and then with our past, heal our wounds in order to allow for new positive experiences.
My favorite things I like to do to de-stress would be listening to hip-hop music. After school, I go home, I like to put me on some Kanye West or MF Doom on my phone and just, listen to their music.
I personally like to read books. I also like to go outside in nature and hang out with my sisters. And I also like to meditate.
Sometimes listening to music and just walking just helps me clear the mind, helps me observe what's around me, helps me look at the little things throughout the day that make me happy.
I also love going out to the movies sometimes or watching movies at home. Like I love me some action movies, some comedy movies, and that kind of helps me de-stress, have an escapism for me to just go into the depths of film because I am a film fanatic myself, and whenever I watch films, I feel like I don't have to worry about what goes on in society when that happens.
So definitely sports was my way to de-stress.
Music is my ultimate form of decompression.
Definitely hanging out with my friends. They were the people who just sort of sustained me whether that was at practice or just hanging out outside of school, outside of practice. They were incredible, in addition to like my friends, also my family, of course.
When I was here in this cafeteria downstairs, we would sit on a table right next to the Red Devil store, and our table really consisted of just a blend of different cultures, and learning about the different cultures, learning about the food was just really fascinating, and it was really exciting to learn that, and that was something that I think I'm always happy about, and when I think back to it, just feel like a spark of joy.
When I was at Chelsea High as a student, I took a television production class as one of my electives, and I was able to be part of creating our class video and also being a part of the building of the school. So that was a very proud moment.
Mental illness, honestly, was so taboo. I went to school from 2003 to 2007 here at the Chelsea High School, and never once did we speak about mental illness in class or even in health classes. At home, definitely no one brought it up. It was if you were feeling sad, if you were feeling stressed out, you kind of just pushed through it, it just kept going. But it wasn't a topic that was brought up at home or in school for me.
When I was younger, I wish they would have said it was okay. A lot of my family members would not accept mental health. They would say you can push through whatever it is without really having tools to do that. So I wish that I had someone in my life to give me those tools and ways to deal with how I was feeling.
I wished I would have known some of the root cause of my feelings of distress or destructive feelings, or what the root of my anger was as a teenager, what the root of my sadness had been.
I wish I had known the different signs and different aspects of mental health, because then I could have known how to cope with things a lot sooner. I wasn't diagnosed with anxiety and depressive symptoms until I was in college, because I didn't know that what I was feeling, the things I was dealing with, were actually symptoms. And so I didn't know how to cope properly for a long time, and I had been told, you're too sensitive, or that's no big deal, and all these things. So I felt like, well, then maybe I just need to keep it all in, or just like not talk about these things, because I don't know, maybe something's wrong with me. And my feelings weren't really validated a lot of the time.
Since my family doesn't talk about mental health issues, I think that I've just kind of been like, it is what it is. It's not really a problem. So I kind of just buried it down deep instead of trying to find the root of what the problem is and trying to seek for help and asking people for help, especially, and also not talking about it, because talking about it helps.
I think when I was a teenager, we were not as reflective or insightful, and did not dig so much as to why, or peeling the layers of our emotions. So I think if I had known that sooner, it would have been easier later on in life.
Advice I would give my 16-year-old self would be tomar mi tiempo, to take my time, enjoy my youth. I feel like I tried to grow up too quickly. Wanted to get my license, start driving, get a job, and all that I put more stress on myself than I needed to. So tomar mi tiempo, divertirme con mis amigos más, y no tratar de crecer tan rápido.
But I didn't speak up for myself of what truly made me happy or what I really wanted. I tried so much to please other people. Try to not be argumentative or have an argument, but just say, hey, I didn't want to do that, or I don't want to do that, versus, okay, I'll do it just because you wanted to. I was a very much people pleaser and not so much worried about myself. And I think it's okay to be selfish sometimes for your own mental health.
My advice that I would give to my freshman self is be prepared for all of the challenges that are going to come towards you and do all of the work you can. In the end, you will make it. Just go for it. Do all the challenges you can.
A mental health problem is not being crazy or it's not unusual. I think a lot of people need to realize that it's not so bad and it's just something that you have to learn to cope with and learn to grow with.
I'm so proud to be back here in the same school that I graduated in, working with some of the teachers that were my former teachers. You know, you always say you want to give back to the community, and I feel like this is my way to do that. I love Chelsea, I love this community, and I'm so happy that I'm able to work here to guide students, you know, just like I was, to tell them about the mistakes that I made and help them learn and guide them in the right direction.
Now that we heard from these perspectives, next week we are going to talk with health professionals. This includes nurses, doctors, and school officials about how to know when someone is in a crisis and how to get them help. Until next week, please stay healthy, Chelsea.